As I come before you today, my memories of 2020 will not just be the struggles, the many challenges I spoke about today, the countless tough decisions, or the sleepless nights. Like many of you, I will remember time spent with my family that otherwise would not have been possible. I will remember standing shoulder to shoulder, well, 6 feet apart, with the best private sector, political and civic leaders in our state to face a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. I will remember my travels across the state to visit Georgia companies and workers who proved innovation and hard work are the backbone of our economy and well-being as a people. I will remember the countless sacrifices and hardships faced by the people of our state and how we pulled through, how we weathered the storm, how we emerged resilient and stronger than ever. The reason you build a house with a strong foundation is not for the good times, not for the sunny days. You do it to weather the storm when times get tough. I spent my summers working on a farm. It's hot, it's hard work, but it's also rewarding. Watching the seeds you planted grow over the days, weeks, and months, literally enjoying the fruits of your labor. I know that many in this room and those watching are worn out, tired, and burdened. It's a new year, but it all feels the same. There's no doubt that this new normal isn't really normal. And frankly, it's not clear when things will return to business as usual. But my fellow Georgians, we have the opportunity and responsibility to make strategic decisions now that will impact generations to come. We have the opportunity to act and accomplish what we were sent here to do. In 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, we can look back and tell our kids, our grandkids, and their kids that we invested in health care, education, and the safety of our communities. We upheld our sworn oath and stood up for what was right, even when it wasn't popular. We prioritized jobs and prosperity in all parts of our state. We championed legislation to make our state a more welcoming place to live, work, and raise a family. We protected the lives and livelihoods of what makes Georgia great, our people. It's time to put differences aside, put 2020 in the rear view. Let's stand together as Georgians and clear the destruction caused by the storms of life. Let's clear away the conspiracy theories and the division. Let's focus on the bountiful harvest to come. Let's find that good soil together and start planting. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless this great state of Georgia. Thank you very much.